The real enemy of your prostate is not something exotic or mysterious. It is quietly sitting on your plate, in your cup, and in your pantry. And the most surprising part is this. You probably believe these foods are normal, harmless, or even part of a balanced diet. Yet day after day, they inflame your body, slow your circulation, and quietly make your prostate work harder than it should. I'm Anna Morgan. Many people know me as Dr. Anna Morgan, but today, I want to speak to you simply as a guide in men's health and well-being. In this video, I want to open your eyes to 3 everyday foods that are silently working against your prostate, your urinary comfort, your confidence in your intimate life, and even your long-term vitality. My goal is not to scare you, but to give you clarity. Because once you see the pattern, you can change it. And when you change it, your body responds. During years of consultations and conversations with men over 50, I noticed something curioso. Many of them were taking supplements, going to checkups, even doing exercise. But their plate was still sabotaging them. They were asking, why do I wake up 2, 3, 4 times at night to pee? Why is my stream weaker? Why do I feel more pressure down there? Why has my energy gone down even though I'm trying to take care of myself? And very often, the answer was not in another pill. It was in what they ate every single day, almost without thinking. So in this conversation, we are going to do algo muy simple pero poderoso. I will show you 3 everyday foods that are real enemies of your prostate when you consume them regularly and in excess. I will explain why they are harmful, what they do inside your body, and how they slowly affect your circulation, your hormones, and your inflammation. Then, for each one, I'll show you practical swaps and small changes that you can start today without extreme diets, without obsession, and without feeling punished. This is not about perfection. It is about direction. Let's start with the first reality. Your prostate is not your enemy. It is not a ticking bomb. It is a small gland with an enormous impact on your quality of life. When it is healthy, you barely think about it. You urinate with a good stream. You sleep without constant trips to the bathroom. Your bladder feels empty, and your confidence in your intimate life feels stable. But when this small organ becomes inflamed, congested, or enlarged, you start to notice weaker stream, urgency, dripping, discomfort, pressure, and a sense that something is off. Many men think this is simply old age, that it is inevitable. But in reality, lifestyle plays a huge role in how fast these changes appear and how intense they become. Smoking, lack of exercise, excess body fat, stress, and poor sleep all matter. However, what you eat can be either gasoline on the fire or water that calms the flames. This is why we need to talk honestly about these 3 everyday foods. The first enemy is not one specific product, but an entire family. Highly processed red and processed meats. I am talking about the sausages in the morning, the bacon, the hot dogs, the salami, the deli meats, the fatty burgers loaded with additives, and the charred steaks eaten in excess. Many men grew up with the idea that a real man eats meat. They associate it with strength, power, and energy. But what if I told you that, especially after 50, these foods often give you the opposite? More inflammation, worse circulation, and more pressure on your prostate and cardiovascular system? When you eat processed meats regularly, you are not only consuming protein. You are absorbing high levels of saturated fats, salt, additives, and compounds formed during intense cooking and smoking. Your body has to manage all of this. Over time, these substances promote low-grade chronic inflammation, affect blood vessel function, and can contribute to weight gain and abdominal fat. Abdominal fat is not passive. It is hormonally active and can produce inflammatory substances that circulate through your body, including the area of the pelvis where your prostate lives. Imagine your prostate as a sponge surrounded by blood vessels and nerves. When your lifestyle constantly increases inflammation, the tissue becomes more sensitive, more irritated, more congested. It is not about the piece of meat you eat once a month at a special celebration. It is about that daily sandwich full of processed meat. It is about bacon every morning. It is about the weekend barbecues, where half the plate is charred meat, and the other half is almost nothing green. Over time, this pattern contributes to a state in which your whole body is more inflamed, your arteries are stiffer, your circulation is poorer, and your prostate feels the effect. Many men notice they feel more heaviness in the pelvic area, slower urine flow, and more nighttime trips to the bathroom. They blame age, but often the problem is on their plate. What can you do instead? You do not have to become vegetarian tomorrow. You can start by reducing frequency and portion size. Choose leaner cuts. Replace some red meat meals with fish rich in omega-3, like salmon or sardines. Add more fiber and vegetables around any meat you do eat, so that your plate looks more colorful and not just brown. And very importantly, gradually reduce the processed meats. You can treat them as occasional indulgences, not everyday staples. The second enemy is very familiar, and in many cultures, almost sacred: sugary drinks and refined carbohydrates. This is the soft drink that accompanies your lunch, the sweetened iced tea, the energy drink in the afternoon, the fruit juice that you think is healthy but is loaded with sugar, and the pastries, white breads, cookies, and sweets that seem small but accumulate day after day. Why are these such a problem for your prostate? Because they are a direct attack on your metabolism and your blood sugar regulation. When you constantly bombard your body with quick sugars and refined flours, your blood sugar spikes. Your body responds by releasing insulin to lower that sugar. If this pattern repeats again and again for years, your cells become less sensitive to insulin. Your blood sugar tends to stay higher, and you begin to enter a state of insulin resistance. Insulin resistance does not only affect your risk of diabetes, it changes your entire hormonal and inflammatory landscape. It is associated with increased inflammation, more abdominal fat, and alterations in the balance of sex hormones. All of this is directly relevant to prostate health. A body that is constantly in a metabolic struggle is a body where tissues become more sensitive to inflammation, including in the prostate area. High blood sugar also affects the lining of your blood vessels. Over time, the arteries that carry blood to your pelvis, your bladder, and your prostate may become less flexible, narrower, and less efficient. Good circulation is essential for tissue repair, for normal function, and for maintaining healthy nerves in the pelvic region. When circulation is compromised, you do not only feel it in your prostate symptoms. Many men also notice decreased vitality, lower energy, and often changes in their intimate confidence. Another aspect is that excess sugar feeds body weight gain. Extra weight around the waist increases pressure on the pelvic floor, changes your posture, and can contribute to more urinary urgency and frequency. Many men notice that when they lose a bit of weight, especially around the abdomen, some urinary symptoms improve. This is not magic. It is anatomy, pressure, and physiology working together. So what can you do to protect your prostate from this second enemy? Start with awareness. Look honestly at what you drink in a typical day. Many men do not count liquid calories. They forget the sugary coffee drinks, the sweetened yogurt drinks, the sodas, the juices. Start by reducing these step by step. Replace one sugary drink per day with water, sparkling water with lemon, or unsweetened herbal tea. If you need flavor, use slices of citrus, mint, or cucumber in your water. With refined carbohydrates, begin to switch white breads, white rice, and pastries for whole grains in moderate portions. Choose whole grain bread rather than white bread. Swap some desserts for fresh fruit. Do not look for perfection, look for progress. Every time you reduce a spike of sugar, you are lowering the inflammatory load on your body and giving your hormones and your blood vessels a calmer environment. The third enemy is subtle and often overlooked, a combination of high salt, ultra-processed convenience foods, especially in the evening. I am referring to instant soups, salty snacks, fast food, frozen dinners loaded with sodium, and many packaged foods that you heat quickly when you are tired. Why are these such a problem for your prostate, especially if you already wake up at night to urinate? First, the high salt content. When you consume a lot of sodium, your body retains more water to keep the salt concentration in balance. This can increase your blood pressure and force your heart and kidneys to work harder. But it also means you have more fluid to excrete later. If you eat a very salty dinner or snack late at night, your body will likely try to get rid of that extra fluid during the night. Result: nocturnal trips to the bathroom. For a man with an enlarged or sensitive prostate, this is a double hit. The bladder fills with more volume at night, but the outflow is partially obstructed. So you wake up, feel urgency, go to the bathroom, empty partially, return to bed, and a few hours later, the story repeats. Over time, this pattern destroys the quality of your sleep, drains your energy, and erodes your sense of vitality. Ultra-processed foods also share another problem. They are typically low in fiber and rich in additives, unhealthy fats, and refined carbohydrates. This combination contributes to metabolic problems, weight gain, and systemic inflammation. But there is one detail many men do not consider: constipation. Low-fiber diets make bowel movements harder and less frequent. When stool accumulates in the rectum, it takes up space in the pelvis and can push against the bladder and the prostate area, increasing discomfort and making urinary symptoms worse. Think for a moment about your typical evening routine. Do you often arrive home tired and grab something quick, salty, and processed because you do not feel like cooking? Do you eat late at night and wash it down with a large drink? If this is your pattern, your prostate and bladder are paying the price while you try to sleep. How can you protect yourself from this third enemy? First, begin to reduce salt in general. Taste your food before adding more salt. Read labels. You will be surprised how much sodium is hidden in sauces, soups, and snacks. Try to prepare simple meals at home with fresh ingredients: vegetables, legumes, whole grains, lean proteins. Not fancy, just real food. Second, pay attention to your evening. Try to make your largest meal earlier in the day and keep dinner lighter and less salty. Reduce the amount of liquid you drink 2 or 3 hours before going to bed, especially if you already wake up several times at night. This does not mean you should dehydrate yourself, but timing matters. A calmer bladder at night means deeper, more restorative sleep, and that also supports hormonal balance and long-term vitality. Now that we have met these 3 enemies, processed meats, sugary drinks and refined carbs, and salty ultra-processed convenience foods, I want to connect the dots for you. Because you might be thinking, all right, I understand each one separately, but what does this mean for my daily life? Imagine 2 men of 60. They have similar genetics. Both have a slightly enlarged prostate, which is common at that age. The first man eats bacon most mornings, a processed meat sandwich at lunch, a large soda, and fast food for dinner several times per week. He often drinks sweet tea in the afternoon and enjoys salty snacks at night while watching television. He sleeps poorly, wakes up 3 times to urinate, feels tired in the morning, and believes this is simply getting old. The second man decides to make modest but consistent changes. He limits processed meats to once in a while. 2 or 3 times per week, he chooses fish or legumes instead. He replaces sugary drinks with water, sparkling water with lemon, and unsweetened tea. He switches white bread for whole grain and reduces pastries to special occasions. In the evening, he chooses simpler, less salty meals and stops drinking large amounts of liquid 2 hours before bed. After a few weeks or months, he begins to notice differences: slightly fewer night trips to the bathroom, a better urine stream, less heaviness in his lower abdomen, and more morning energy. The difference between these two men is not luck. It is habit. It is the silent accumulation of small decisions, day after day. Your prostate feels the effect of what you eat. Your bladder, your blood vessels, your hormones, and your nerves in the pelvic area are reacting constantly to the signals that your diet sends. At this point, I want you to hear something clearly. You do not have to become perfect. You do not have to follow a strict or extreme diet, and you do not have to punish yourself for past habits. Your body is not asking for punishment. It is asking for help. And help starts today, with one decision at a time. You can begin with one of these 3 enemies. Maybe you choose to focus first on sugary drinks. You tell yourself, for the next 2 weeks, I will cut sugary sodas and juices and drink more water and unsweetened tea. That is all. You observe how your energy, your sleep, and your urinary habits respond. Then, once that feels more natural, you move on to reduce processed meats. Later, you modify your evening routine with salt and late-night snacks. Every time you remove a bit of inflammation, you are giving your prostate space to breathe. Every time you improve circulation, you are sending more oxygen and nutrients to the tissues of your pelvis. Every time you support metabolic health, you are protecting your hormones and reducing the pressure on your urinary system. Now let's make it even more practical. Men often ask me, what can I eat instead that supports my prostate? While this video is focused on enemies, it is helpful to mention some allies. Foods rich in antioxidants, like berries and colorful vegetables, help combat oxidative stress. Healthy fats from sources like olive oil, nuts, and seeds assist in maintaining flexible blood vessels. Legumes like beans and lentils provide fiber and plant-based protein, supporting a healthy weight and better blood sugar control. Tomatoes, especially cooked with a bit of olive oil, provide lycopene, a compound that has been studied for its potential role in prostate health. Green tea offers gentle stimulation and antioxidants without the sugar load of many other drinks. But you do not need a long list of superfoods. You need a simple principle: more real food, fewer ultra-processed foods; more home cooking, fewer packages; more color on the plate, less monochrome beige. When you follow that principle, you will naturally reduce the impact of the 3 enemies we have discussed. I also want to touch on something sensitive but important: confidence in your intimate life. Many men do not connect what they eat with how they feel during moments of closeness with their partner. Yet circulation, inflammation, and metabolic health have a direct impact on your vitality and your ability to feel strong and present. When your prostate is irritated, when you are waking up multiple times at night, when your blood vessels are struggling, it is natural to feel less confident, more tired, and sometimes worried. Changing your diet is not only about urine flow and test results. It is also about recovering a sense of trust in your own body. When you notice that your bladder behaves better, that your nights are calmer, that your energy is more stable, you begin to feel safer inside your own skin. This inner safety is deeply attractive and healing in a relationship. It allows you to show up with more patience, more tenderness, and more presence. If you are listening to this and thinking, "It is too late for me," I want to challenge that thought gently. Your body is constantly renewing itself. Your blood vessels respond when you change your habits. Your metabolism adjusts when you treat it better. Your inflammation levels can decrease. Your prostate symptoms can improve. Maybe you will not feel like you are 20 again, but you absolutely can feel lighter, clearer, and more in control at 55, 65, or even 75. The most powerful step is always the next one you take, not the ones you did not take before. You can start by opening your pantry and refrigerator with honest curiosity. Look at your processed meats. Look at your sugary drinks. Look at your salty, ultra-processed convenience foods, and instead of judging yourself, simply say, "Now I understand why my body feels the way it does. And now I choose to help it." You can also involve your partner or family. Explain that you want to support your prostate health, your circulation, your energy, and your long-term independence. Many partners are grateful when a man takes responsibility for his well-being. You might be surprised at how willing they are to cook differently together, to experiment with new recipes, and to build habits that support both of you. If you live alone, you can still make it simple. Batch cook basic meals with legumes, vegetables, and whole grains. Keep healthy snacks like nuts, seeds, and fruit close by so that you are less tempted by salty processed snacks. Set small rules for yourself, like no soda in the house or processed meats only on special occasions. Before we close, I want to leave you with one clear, strong sentence that captures everything we have talked about. The real enemy of your prostate is not age, but the everyday habits that inflame your body, and you have the power to change them from your plate. Your prostate is not asking you to be perfect. It is asking you to be consistent, to be kind, to be patient. Every time you choose water over soda, every time you choose a simple home-cooked meal over a salty processed option, every time you reduce processed meats on your plate, you are sending a quiet but powerful message to your body. I am on your side, and your body hears it. It responds with better nights, calmer days, more stable energy, and a renewed sense of confidence in your own vitality. If this message resonated with you, take a moment after this video to reflect. What is one small change that you can start today to protect your prostate from these 3 everyday enemies? You do not need a full plan to begin. You only need one decision. Write it down, keep it visible, and honor it for the next week. Then notice how you feel. Remember, it is never too late to reclaim your well-being. Your prostate, your heart, your circulation, your sleep, and your intimate confidence are all connected. When you take care of one, you are quietly supporting them all.